Ojai. Peru, the state in South America. Borders in the northwest on Ecuador, in the north, on Colombia, in the east, on Brazil, in the southeast, on Bolivia and Chile. In the west it is washed by the Pacific Ocean. The third in area, after Brazil and Argentina, the country of South America. According to the report of Juan de Samano, Charles V's secretary, for the first time the name Peru is mentioned in 1525 in connection with the first expedition of Francisco Pizarro and Diego de Almagro. The first inhabitants in the territory of modern Peru appeared in the 10th millennium BB. They lived in river valleys of the coast. In Peru, stone tools, bones of animals, the remains of plants are dated age, respectively, not less than 12,000 years ago. The ancient civilization of North Chico was found on the north-central coast of the country. It is dated the period between 1300 and 1800 BB. In the 12th century, in the valley of the river Urubamba, there was a state of Inca. Inca is not only ethnos, but also ruling class. In 5 centuries the Incan state of Tawantinsuyo turned into the largest empire of pre-Columbian America. In the north the border passed down the river Patia, Colombia. In the south down the river Mol, Chile. In the east the power of Inca extended to parts of territories of present Brazil, Paraguay and Argentina. One of the best known fortresses of Inca, Machu Picchu, is in Peru. Agriculture was a primary branch of production of an era of Inca. The earth was loosened with sticks, the plough was unknown. The maize, cassava, potatoes, tomatoes, beans, tobacco, the cook and cotton were cultivated. From pets llamas got divorced. From crafts of considerable development reached weaving from cotton and wool, pottery. Without potter's wheel. Processing of gold, silver, copper and bronze. Forged bellows were unknown, fire was inflated through copper pipes. Also nails were unknown, boards communicated belts. Buildings, bridges and roads were under construction of the stones but without cement. Instead of writing multicolored laces with small knots were used. Kip. Population bulk, farmers, vein communities in common cultivating the land. A third of a harvest came to the property of Inca, other third to temples. Besides, communities left a labor duty on construction of roads, bridges, palaces and delivered to Inca of soldiers and also slaves for harems of Inca and for service of priests. In 1524 Francisco Pizarro's conquistadors living in Panama, Diego de Almagro and the priest to Hernando de Luca began conquest of Peru. In 1529 Pizarro was appointed the deputy of newly opened lands. In 1531 Pizarro with group from 228 soldiers went to the third expedition. He used intestine race for power of two brothers Inca Atahualpa and Huáscar, and in 1533 occupied the capital of Peru, Cuzco. Pizarro suited trial of Atahualpa, having accused him of a mutiny minds Huáscar, and executed him. In 1535 Pizarro founded the city of Lima which became the capital of Peru. Meanwhile between Pizarro and Almagro fight because of the occupied territory broke out, as a result of Almagro F. Pizarro in 1541 was killed in 1538 and In 1544 the Vice-Kingdom of Peru was founded. Blasco Núñez, who arrived from Spain, became the first vice-king I conducted. He entered the new law under which Indians after the death of conquistadors carried over not to their successors, and in possession of the Spanish crown. It led to a revolt of conquistadors led by Gonzalo Pizarro, brother Francisco Pizarro. Troops of the Viceroy of Huelo were broken, and he is killed. But in 2 years Gonzalo Pizarro and his colleagues were broken by troops of the new Viceroy. Indians several times organized revolts against Spaniards. The revolt of Indians in 1780-81, led by José Gabriel Condorcanqui, who declared himself the descendant of the last governor Inca Tupac Amaru and appropriated his name, was the largest. This revolt, as well as all previous, was crushed and the leader of Risen is executed. During an era of liberation movement in South America at the beginning of the 19th century, of Peru was a stronghold of the Spanish colonialism. From Peru royal troops were sent to Argentina, Chile, Colombia. But in 1820 in Peru the landing from 4,500 insurgents headed by General Street Martin, which arrived from Chile, landed. He took Lima and, having declared on July 28, 1821 independence of Peru, became the dictator. Protector. However, soon in Lima the revolt against Street Martin broke out. It was forced to refuse the power and return to Chile. In June 1823 Spaniards returned themselves dominion over Peru. In 1824 troops of Sucre, the associate Bolivar, intruded in Peru from the north. They finally broke Spaniards. Bolivar divided Peru into two countries, actually Peru, which I began to rule itself, and Bolivia, called in his honor, which he gave for a board of Sucre. The history of the Republic of Peru in the first 20 years of her independence is filled with fight against Bolivia, revolts and revolutions. At the President Castillo since 1855 slavery was cancelled. In 1864-65 Peru together with Chile, Bolivia and Ecuador was involved in war against Spain. In 1879-83 there was the Pacific War because of the Bolivian province Antofagasta rich with saltpeter deposits. In this war of Chile of the beginning military operations mined Bolivia and Peru, which concluded the military alliance. Peru got beaten. Chileans occupied almost all southern coast of Peru and entered Lima. In 1918-19 there were miners' strikes, textile workers, the port workers developing sometimes into armed conflicts with government troops. Workers were supported by the students, which supported reform of an education system, and some part of the servicemen. In these conditions the Financiera Legia made a revolution and set the mode of personal dictatorship. 1919-30. The government of Legia encouraged investments of the American companies, especially oil. However, it was forced to go for some restrictions of the rights of foreign capitalists. Under the Constitution of 1920, a subsoil was announced by the state property. The ownership of land was regulated by exclusively Peruvian laws. Country communities acquired the right of the legal entity. Progressive income tax and social insurance for workers were imposed. In the conditions of the new rise of the left movement, which began in 1927 and 1928 under the leadership of H.K. Mariátegui, the Peruvian Communist Party PCP was created. Till 1930 I was called Socialist Party. Communists headed strikes on the copper mines and oil fields belonging to the North American companies, created the General Confederation of Workers, which united 90,000 people, Federation of Farm Laborers and Indians. The global economic crisis of 1929-33 especially strongly struck the mining industry. In 1930 there were large strikes of workers and employees, peasants' uprisings and also disorders on the fleet and in army. Leaders of the left-wing Apristki Party, her official name the American National and Revolutionary Alliance, the Spanish reduction APRA, successfully broke the efforts of communists directed to creation of a popular anti-imperialist front. In 1932 the Congress adopted a number of the laws directed against blasting elements. The authorities acquired the right to ban meetings to close newspapers. In April 1933 the new constitution which set the presidential and parliamentary mode was entered. The Second Pacific War. 1532 the Spanish conquistadors won the territory of Peru. 1535 Lima, the capital of modern Peru, is founded. 1544 the Vice-Kingdom of Peru is founded. 1821 Independence of Peru. 1824 the Battle of Ayacucho. Defeat of armies of the Spanish colonialists. 1877 Fight in the Bay Pacocha. Use of the torpedo first in the history. 1932-1933 Peruano-Colombisky War. 1941 Peruano-Ecuadorsky War. 1965 Insurgent year. At once three left-wing radical organizations begin guerrilla for the purpose of overthrow of the government. Peru after 1968. 1968 a military coup. The left officers led by Juan Velasco Alvarado, who tried to undertake the broad reforms which are up to standard of the Cuban and Sandinista revolutions on degree of progressiveness in the country, come to the power. (1970) The 1980th years. Origin and a performance of the Maoist guerrilla movement, Sendero Luminoso, positioning itself as the fourth step of the Lenin Doctrine, after Marx, Lenin, Stalin and Mao Zedong. 1980 Military delegate the power to the civil government, left-wing radical groups begin long-armed struggle with the government. 1980-1985 The second presidency of Fernando Belaunterre. 1981 Pacashes War. 1985-1990 The first presidency of Alan Garcia. 1990-2000 Alberto Fujimori's presidency. 1995 Alto Senap's War. 2000 overthrow of the regime of Fujimori as a result of several factors. Massachusetts national actions, pressure of the international organizations and instability in the country leaders. 2001-2006 Alejandro Toledo's presidency. 2006-2011 The second presidency of Alan Garcia. 2011-2016 Presidency of the leader of the Peruvian Nationalist Party Ollanta Humala. 2016-2018 Pedro Pablo Kuczynski's presidency. 2018-2020 Martin Vizcarra's presidency. On November 10, 2020 the plenum of the Congress Peru voted for Martin Vizcarra's discharge from the president's position in connection with his charges of bribery on a post of the governor of the region Moquegua in 2011-2014. 2020-2020 Manuel Merino's presidency. 2020, end of century, Francisco Sagasti's presidency. Peru, the Republic. The head of state, the president elected by the population for a 5-year term. I was the president from March 23, 2018 to November 12, 2020 in connection with Pedro Pablo Kuczynski's resignation. This is Martin Vizcarra. The current president, the Congressman Francisco Sagasti, the 76-year-old engineer and the scientist, will direct the country prior to presidential elections, which are as follows: 2-year term. These duties were fulfilled by Manuel Merino, who succeeded Martin Vizcarra, displaced as a result of an impeachment. The Prime Minister of Peru is appointed the president and is approved by the Congress since March 2019. This position is held by Salvador del Solar. Parliament, the unicameral Congress of the Republic of Peru, 130 deputies. The current president of the Congress is Manuel Merino. By results of elections 2016, in the Congress 8 blocks were presented and 19 aren't grouped. Fuerza Popular -59. Right centrist. The bloc aren't grouped -19. Peruanos por el Cambio -15. Right. Frente Amplio -10. Left. Nuevo Peru -10. Left. Alianza para el Progreso -8. Right centrist. Acción Popular -10. Right. The American National and Revolutionary Alliance, APRA. Partido Aprista Peruano, APRA. -5. Right centrist. Besides, there are more than 10 illegal parties which aren't represented in parliament. Not less than 4 communist parties and also several communistic guerrilla groups. The Shining Way, Revolutionary Movement of Tupac Amaru, the Revolutionary Left Movement. These parties in Peru are considered as terrorist and illegal. Till 2002 the state was divided into 24 departments, before formation of new regions. On November 18, 2002, according to the Appeared Decree, the territory was divided into 25 regions. These regions are formed of provinces which, in turn, consist of areas. Thus, in Peru 195 provinces and 1833 areas. The metropolitan city, the capital located in the central part of the coast of the country, is included into the certain province. The feature of the province of Lima Metropolitan is that she doesn't belong to number of all 25 regions. The territory of Peru can be divided into 3 regions differing in the nature of a relief, climate, flora and fauna. In the west, along the coast of the Pacific Ocean, the narrow strip of desert coastal plains was stretched. Costa. Here desert, extremely droughty climate, an amount of precipitation, from several millimeters in the south up to 300 in the north. Unique feature of climate, high humidity, frequent fogs and a large number of cloudy days in a year while this territory is the desert. The largest deserts, Atacama and Sakura. In certain areas slopes of the Andes rise closely to the coast, the widest part of Costa is in the north. Flora is presented by a rare charophytny vegetation, and in certain places special ecosystems were formed of the plants which adapted to local conditions, to high humidity and a low amount of precipitation. The mountain belt of the Andes Sierra is to the east located. The highest point, Mount Huascarán, 67-68 meters. In total in Peru there are more than 310 mountain tops more than 600 meters high. The relief is difficult dismembered, it is a lot of valleys and canyons. In the south there is a northernmost tip of the Altiplano Plateau. Altitudinal zonality is brightly expressed. In the country there is the classification of natural regions by height above sea level. C. 8 Natural regions of Peru. The climate is very non-uniform as affected height above sea level in 2 regions, absolutely opposite on climatic features. Desert coast in the west and Amazonian lowland in the east. The amount of precipitation, and after it, and biological diversity, increases at advance to the east. In the east the Amazonian lowland. Selva. The territory of tropical rainforests is located. The climate is extremely damp, an amount of precipitation up to 3,200 mm a year. Average annual temperature is plus 25 C, without considerable fluctuations within a year. Flora and fauna is characterized by a huge variety. Here the radical tribes of Amazonia live, not contact tribes still remained. The Amazonian ecosystem is threatened by uncontrolled deforestation and the developing oil production. Across the territory of Peru the Amazon River and 2 rivers forming it, Ucayali and Marañon flows. At the height of 3,800 meters above sea level, on border with Bolivia there is Lake Titicaca, and in the center, at the height of 40-80 meters, less known Lake Junin. The most western point of Peru and all South America is the Cape Peñas. Peru has overland borders with 5 countries. Bolivia minus 1075 kilometers, Brazil minus 2995 kilometers, Chile minus 171 kilometers, Colombia minus 1800 kilometers and Ecuador minus 1420 kilometers. All territory of the country is in a seismodangerous zone. Strong earthquakes in Peru happen approximately 2 frequency of times a year. The seismodanger is connected with the fact that on the ocean coast of Peru the subduction zone connected with a naplevani of the Southern American plate on the plate of Nazca which plunged under her was formed. The minimum wage in Peru in 2018 makes 930 salt. $280.08. The average amount of compensation in Peru for 2018 is 1,704.14 salt. $520.36. Natural resources: copper, silver, gold, oil, the wood, iron ore, coal, phosphates, hydraulic power, gas. Peru, the agrarian country with the mining and developing manufacturing industry developed. DDD per capita in 2009 $8,600. The 115th place in the world. Unemployment minus 9%. In 2009. Is lower than the level of poverty minus 45% of the population. In 2006. The industry. 25% of GDP, 24% working. Production and processing of minerals. Smelting of steel and other metals. Production and oil refining and gas. Processing of fish, textiles, clothes, food industry. Agriculture. 8% of GDP, 7% working.
An asparagus, coffee, cocoa, a cotton, a sugar cane, rice, potatoes, corn, grapes, oranges, pineapples, a guava, bananas, apples, lemons, peaches, the coke, tomatoes, mango, barley, herbs, cocoas, wheat, beans.
Bird, meat and milk livestock production. Fishery. Services industry -67% of GDP, 75% working. Export $42.47 billion in 2017.
Copper, gold, lead, zinc, tin, iron ore, molybdenum, silver, crude oil and oil products, natural gas, coffee and asparagus and other vegetables, fruit, clothes and textiles, fish meal, fish, chemicals, finished metal products, alloys.
The main buyers, China -26.5%, the USA -15.2%, Switzerland -5.2%, South Korea -4.4%, Spain -4.1%, India -4.1%. Import $38.8 billion in 2017. Oil products, chemicals, plastic, cars, vehicles, the electrotechnical and telecommunication equipment, steel, wheat, corn, soy products, paper, cotton, drugs. The main suppliers, China -22.3%, the USA -20.1%, Brazil -6%, Mexico -4.4%. Population -31,237,385. A census of 2017. Annual gain -1.0%. Fertility -2.3 births only woman. Average life expectancy -74 years. Men have 72 years and 77 years at women. Urban population -79.3%. 2017. Sexual structure. 49.2% men, 50.8% women. Contamination, a virus of an immunodeficiency. HIV -0.5%. Assessment of 2007. Ethno-racial structure. Métis -60.2%, Quechua -22.3%, White -5.9%, Afro-Peruvians -3.6%, Aymar -2.4%, the others. Radical Amazonian tribes, Anashaninka and Agwaruna, Shipibo-Kanibo, Japanese, Chinese. -2.3%. Languages. Official Spanish and Quechua are widespread Aymar and other Indian languages. Literacy -95%. 97.4% among men and 92.7% among women. On a census of 2017. Religious structure. Catholics -76%, Protestants -14.1%, others -4.8%, undecideds and atheists -5.1%. On a census of 2017. Among Protestant groups, supporters of the Assemblies of God, Adventists and Baptists. As well as the population of the neighboring Latin American states, the population of Peru is reflection of an ethnographic picture of South America, including autochthonic elements, waves of the European migrations and various mixture of cultures and languages.
Up to the middle of the 16th century, the territory of Peru was the center of the Empire of Inca, one of the most advanced Indian tribes which managed to adjust a civilization in the conditions of severe mountain climate.
By the end of the 16th century of Peru became a part of the colonial possession of Spaniards stretched on thousands of kilometers along the western coast of both continents. Having become one of two main centers of the colonial empire, along with Mexico City, Lima turned into the center of the Spanish immigration, which, however, was not numerous. Bulk arrived from Spain during this period settled either in Lima or in other coastal cities. Most of settlers, the Spanish men, quickly mixed up with Indian women, having given rise to extensive group of Spanish-speaking Creoles and Métaises. In general, the Spanish culture of the Mediterranean quite harmoniously fitted into the Peruvian realities and, despite some conflicts with Indians and the diseases brought by Europeans, it didn't lead to almost total collapse or genocide of indigenous people taking place in the USA and Canada. East regions of Peru. Sierra East and de Selva were poorly affected by the European influence, and in them almost untouched Indian customs and culture remain up to now, though Spanish becomes more and more widespread.
In the modern country, the population is conditionally subdivided into three parts by the number of landscape groups in the country.
Our most populated costa, coast of the Pacific Ocean, and Sierra, adjacent mountain valleys. Least of all is Selva of Amazon in the east of the country. A considerable part of the population has the mixed origin. A quantity, 10% of the population, mainly European. Generally Spanish, but also French, Italian and German, later immigrants of the end of the beginning of the 20th centuries. The origins which are political and economic elite of modern Peru lives in the capital and on the coast.
Along with them groups of the Asians, mainly Chinese and Japanese origin, which are also playing an important role in economic life of the country, live in the capital.
The Japanese by origin is also the former president of Peru, Alberto Fujimori. Most of the population of Costa, Spanish-speaking Métaises of Catholic religion.
In mountains and in the east of the country, the people of Indian origin, making about 52% of the population of the country, prevail.
Many Indians are already substantially assimilated and speak Spanish. If at the beginning of the 20th century it was native only for a third of Peruvians, then by 1960, for more than 60% now. According to a census of 2001, for more than 80% of autochthonic languages, the Quechua and Aymar are official too, but also a strongly influenced Spanish, which, in turn, represents the peculiar language option coming influence of radical languages. Before the Spanish colonization, art in the territory of present Peru developed in crafts.
Potters, processing of a stone, jewelry, spinning.
Literature traces the roots back to oral traditions of pre-Columbian civilizations. Among bright representatives of the Peruvian literature there are Ricardo Palma, Ciro Alegría, José María Argaides, César Vallejo, Mario Vargas Llosa. Holidays. On January 1, New Year. On January 18, week of the basis of Lima in Peru. The first Saturday of February, day of Pisco Sour. Noble date in March-April, Clean Thursday. Noble date in March-April, Good Friday. On May 1, the Labor Day. The first Saturday of June, Put Rome. On June 28, Day Ceviche. On June 29, Day of Saints Piet and Pavel. On July 28, the Independence Day, 1821. On July 29, the Independence Day, the second day of celebration. On August 30, Santa Rosa is divisible. The holiday is celebrated in the capital. On October 8, anniversary of sea battle at Engamos, 1879. On November 1, All Saints' Day. On December 8, Immaculate Conception. On December 25, Christmas. The state broadcasting company ERP includes TV channel TV Peru International, Radio Nacional del Peru radio stations. It is started in 1925. Radio La Crónica AM. It is started in 1935. Radio Filarmonia. It is started in 1984. Radio International del Peru. Since June 21, 2011, between two countries the visa-free regime works. The citizens of the Russian Federation and citizens of the Republic of Peru who are owners of the valid passports, except for a diplomatic office and official, granting the right for crossing of border, can drive, leave, follow in transit and stay in the territory of other state without visas up to 90 days during every period in 180 days, since date of their first entrance.
Earlier, the authorities of Peru introduced unilaterally a visa-free regime for the citizens of Russia arriving for the purpose of tourism in this country for the term of no more than 90 days.
Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.